Have you ever laid your head on your pillow at night and in the profound quiet between one day and the next, felt a subtle, lingering anxiety? It is the silent pain of a question that lives in the heart of so many women. Do I still exist for him when I am not there? It is the fear of fading from his emotional radar, of becoming a memory instead of a presence. This feeling can linger even when a relationship seems fine on the surface, a quiet ache that speaks to a deep, human need to matter, to occupy a meaningful space in the inner world of another. We are not talking about obsession or control, but about a sacred resonance, the desire to know that our essence leaves an imprint that time and distance cannot easily erase. The great psychologist Carl Jung, a profound cartographer of the human soul, understood that the most important communication between two people happens far beneath the surface of spoken words. It happens in the unseen realm of the unconscious, through symbols, dreams, and energetic impressions. He knew that the final thoughts and feelings we hold before drifting into sleep are not just fleeting moments. They become archetypal imprints. They are the last brushstrokes on the canvas of the day, and their colors seep into the shared psychic space of the night, subtly influencing the dreams and the deep-seated feelings of those we are connected to. This ancient wisdom is now being echoed by modern neuroscience. Researchers like Dr. Dispenza have shown that in the twilight state between wakefulness and sleep, our brains shift into slower, more receptive frequencies, like the theta brainwave state. In this state, the analytical mind, the guardian of our consciousness, begins to stand down. The door to the subconscious mind swings gently open, making it far more open to emotional and energetic imprinting. The barriers are lowered, and the psyche becomes like still, fertile soil, ready to receive whatever seed is planted in it. This brings us to the very heart of our journey tonight. We will explore a simple, profound ritual, not of words, but of being. Think of it as planting a seed in that still, fertile soil of the subconscious. The seed is a coherent, authentic emotional signal from you, and the soil is the receptive, unconscious mind in the sacred moments before sleep. It is crucial to understand, this is not a lesson in manipulation. We are not here to learn techniques to control another's mind. Instead, this is a journey into the alignment of your own energy. It is about cultivating an inner state of peace, wholeness, and self-love so authentic that its resonance is naturally felt, a beautiful echo that lingers in the quiet spaces, even in your absence. We tend to think of the night as a time of separation, a quiet pause where connection ceases until the morning. But the great mystics and the deepest psychological traditions have always known otherwise. The night is not a void, it is a bridge. While our conscious minds rest, our unconscious minds engage in a profound and silent dialogue. It is in these unseen hours that the true work of relationship happens. The emotional bonds that connect us are not severed by sleep. They are tended to, reinforced or subtly weakened in the fertile darkness of the unconscious. Modern science is beginning to map this invisible landscape. While the body rests, parts of the brain remain incredibly active, sorting and processing the emotional weight of the day. The hippocampus, the librarian of our memories, works alongside the amygdala, the seat of our emotional responses, to decide which moments to store in our long-term memory and which to discard. The final emotional experiences of the day are given a privileged position in this nightly filing process. They are the freshest, the most resonant, and they often set the emotional tone for the entire night of processing that follows. This is where Carl Jung's wisdom illuminates the process. For him, the people who matter to us are not just people, they become living archetypes within our psyche. The beloved is not just a memory, she is a potent symbol that walks through the landscape of a man's dream life. And the emotional state you leave him with at the end of the day determines which version of that archetype he meets in his dreams. Does he meet the muse, the sanctuary, the serene beloved who brings a sense of peace? Or does he encounter the distant stranger, the critical mother, the restless spirit he cannot quite reach? The image that persists in his inner world is often a direct reflection of the last emotional signal you sent. And here lies a painful, modern truth. Without realizing it, most women unintentionally send absence signals before bed. We may be lying next to someone, Yet our minds are miles away, lost in the anxious blue light of a phone screen. We are stress scrolling through the lives of others, carrying the day's unprocessed resentment to our pillows, or being physically present but emotionally checked out. These are not small habits. They are powerful broadcasts of disconnection. You are sending a clear, albeit unconscious message into that sacred space. I am not here. And his psyche, in its quiet, receptive state, receives that message perfectly. To shift this dynamic, we must understand a language that is spoken not by the tongue, but by the body itself. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work reveals that our nervous system generates a powerful electromagnetic field that extends beyond our physical bodies. This field is not just a biological curiosity, it is a communication device. It is constantly broadcasting our inner state to the world around us. When you feel a certain way, peaceful, anxious, loving, resentful, you are literally broadcasting that feeling as an energetic signature. And another person's nervous system can and does pick up on that signature without a single word being exchanged. The key to sending a clear and beautiful signal is achieving what scientists call heart-brain coherence. This is the state of alignment when your thoughts, from your brain, and your emotions, centered in your heart, are in sync. It is a state of inner integrity, where you are feeling what you are thinking and thinking what you are feeling. When you go to bed feeling a deep, quiet warmth in your heart while thinking a gentle thought, you broadcast a clear, harmonious, and deeply resonant signal. But when there is a mismatch, when you say a loving good night while your heart is tight with anxiety or your mind is replaying an argument, you broadcast chaotic, unreadable static. This emotional static creates a feeling of unease and disconnection in the other person's nervous system, even if they can't explain why. This is why a moment of serene, authentic presence before sleep can linger in his subconscious far longer and more powerfully than a passionate speech or a desperate plea for connection. A long, dramatic conversation is processed by the analytical mind, which can debate it, dismiss it, or forget it. But a simple, heartfelt touch, a quiet moment of shared, peaceful breathing, a serene good night whispered from a place of genuine calm, these things bypass the analytical mind completely. They are a direct communication from your coherent heart to his nervous system. They are felt, not just heard. So the choice each night is not about what to say or what to do. It is about the inner state from which you will operate. Will you end the day broadcasting the emotional static of a distracted mind and a conflicted heart? Or will you choose to cultivate a few moments of emotional clarity, broadcasting a pure, coherent signal of warmth and peace? This choice is not a chore. It is the reclaiming of your power, the power to set your own energetic tone, and in doing so to leave an imprint of authentic, unforgettable presence in the shared field between you. Every interaction we have with another person subtly shapes their inner image of us. But no interaction is more potent than the final one of the day. In the quiet, receptive moments before sleep, you are not just saying goodnight. You are, consciously or unconsciously, sculpting the archetype of the feminine that will reside in his psyche throughout the night. Jung's concept of the anima is not static. It is a living, breathing presence in a man's inner world, and it is profoundly shaped by the repetitive emotional encounters he has with the women in his life. The final emotional note you leave him with becomes the face of the anima he will commune with in his dreams. For many of us, exhausted by the demands of the day, it is tragically easy to unconsciously embody a negative archetype. We might bring the day's frustrations to bed with us, becoming, without meaning to, the critical mother, questioning his actions or reminding him of uncompleted tasks. Or we might retreat into our own world of worries or digital distractions, embodying the indifferent stranger, physically present but emotionally 1,000 miles away. We do not do this out of malice, but out of habit and exhaustion. Yet, the unconscious mind does not judge intent. It only registers the emotional imprint. These roles send a clear message to his psyche. You are a source of stress, or you are not truly seen. The invitation, then, is to make a conscious, deliberate shift. It is to choose in those final moments to embody an archetype of connection and peace. Think of the muse, the presence that inspires him, that leaves his mind with a beautiful thought or a feeling of wonder as he drifts to sleep. Or, perhaps even more powerfully, think of the sanctuary, the woman whose presence is a safe harbor, a place where the storms of the world outside cease to matter. To become a sanctuary is not to absorb his problems, but to hold a space of such profound inner peace that your very presence calms his nervous system and signals to his soul that he is safe and accepted. This shift does not require grand gestures. It is born from a small, simple ritual of intentional state setting that takes no more than 2 or 3 minutes. This is not a performance for him, it is an act of self-centering for you. Before you say goodnight, take a moment to yourself. Close your eyes, take 3 deep, calming breaths, release the day, then ask yourself a simple question. What is the one feeling I wish to embody and leave in this space tonight? Perhaps the answer is peace, perhaps it is warmth, perhaps it is simple, uncomplicated tenderness. Focus on that single feeling. Let it fill your own heart first. Then, and only then, do you turn to him to say goodnight. The effect on him will be a natural overflow of the inner state you have cultivated for yourself. This conscious shift from embodying a stranger to embodying a sanctuary is not just a poetic idea. It has a direct and measurable effect on the brain's chemistry, both yours and his. When you approach him from a state of heart-brain coherence, from that place of authentic inner peace, your serene energy triggers a corresponding sense of safety in his nervous system. This feeling of safety and genuine connection facilitates the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin doesn't just create a fleeting good feeling, it strengthens the neural pathways associated with trust, attachment, and emotional intimacy. This is where the magic of longing begins. A consistently peaceful, warm, and authentic pre-sleep interaction doesn't just create a pleasant memory, it creates anticipation. His brain, a sophisticated reward-seeking organism, begins to associate your pre-sleep presence with this deeply comforting neurochemical state. This anticipation is driven by dopamine, the molecule of motivation and desire. His brain doesn't just remember how good it felt, it begins to crave that feeling again. It is this anticipatory desire, this dopamine-driven wanting for the next moment of serene connection, that is the true neurochemical signature of longing. Absence then becomes powerful, because it amplifies that anticipation. Consider a real-world example of a couple who had fallen into a pattern of emotional distance. Their nights were silent, marked by the blue glow of separate phone screens. They were physically together, but emotionally they were worlds apart. On the verge of separation, they agreed to try one small experiment. For 30 days, they would put their phones away 30 minutes before bed and engage in a simple 3-minute ritual of quiet connection, sometimes talking softly, sometimes just holding hands in silence. The change was not immediate, but it was profound. Over weeks, this small, consistent act rebuilt the neurochemical pathways of connection. The man began to associate bedtime not with distance, but with a feeling of sanctuary. He started to look forward to it. His brain, rewired by the consistent hits of oxytocin and dopamine, began to feel a genuine longing for her presence again. This reveals a final, crucial warning. In our desire for connection, we sometimes believe that intensity is the key. A dramatic, passionate confession, a deep, heavy conversation. But over-intensity, especially before sleep, can backfire. It can activate the release of cortisol, the stress hormone. His brain may register the interaction not as connection, but as stimulating or even stressful drama. His system then learns to subtly avoid that feeling, not crave it. The goal is not to be an unforgettable storm, it is to be the calm, steady flame in a dark room. It is the serene, coherent connection that the psyche registers as safe, and it is only what feels safe that the brain will truly learn to miss. As we go deeper, we must learn the native language of the realm we are entering. The unconscious mind, the vast and dreaming part of our psyche, does not speak in logical sentences. It speaks in the language of dreams, of symbols, of feelings and images. It is a world where a single, simple gesture can hold more weight than 1,000 well-reasoned words. This is why symbolic acts, especially those performed in the quiet moments before sleep, are remembered so much more vividly by the soul. They bypass the analytical mind and are delivered directly to the heart of the psyche. There is a story of a woman who felt a growing distance from her partner. Instead of initiating more draining conversations, she began a simple, silent ritual. Once a week, she would write a single word on a small piece of paper, words like peace, gratitude, or trust, and slip it under his pillow for him to find. She did this without expectation, as a quiet offering. Weeks later, he told her of a recurring dream he was having, a dream where he would find a smooth, warm stone in his pocket that brought him an immense sense of comfort. He didn't make the conscious connection, but his soul had. Her small, symbolic gesture of leaving a note had been translated by his unconscious into a powerful, recurring motif of safety and care in his dreams. Think of the pre-sleep moment as a sacred doorway, a liminal space between the world of doing and the world of being, between conscious intention and unconscious reception. What you place on the threshold of this doorway is what the soul takes with it into the vast, mysterious landscape of the night. A heavy stone of resentment, an empty space of distraction, or a single beautiful flower of authentic presence. The choice is yours, and it is made not with grand effort, but with quiet, focused intention. This leads us to the ultimate invitation, a shift in your very approach. It is an invitation to think less about what to do to get a reaction, and more about what authentic impression do I want my energy to leave in this field. The first question comes from the ego, which is focused on control and external results. The second question comes from the soul, which is focused on integrity and authentic expression. When you begin to ask the second question, you are no longer trying to influence. You are simply choosing to be. And in that state of being, your influence becomes natural, effortless, and profound. And so we arrive at the heart of this entire journey. The goal was never to learn a trick to make him miss you. That is the language of lack, of a game that can never truly be won. The real purpose has always been to learn how to so fully and authentically occupy your own inner world that your presence becomes a beautiful, resonant imprint that naturally lingers in the heart of another. It is the shift from seeking to be desired to becoming undeniably meaningful. As the great Carl Jung reminded us, the psyche does not respond to performance or technique. It responds to authenticity and symbolic depth. The soul knows when we are wearing a mask, and it knows when we are speaking from our core. The rituals and shifts we have explored tonight are powerful only when they are an expression of a genuine inner state, an overflow of your own cultivated peace. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work brings this into the tangible world. By consciously and consistently shifting your own inner state before sleep, you are broadcasting a coherent, harmonious signal that does not fade when the lights go out. It is an energetic signature that lingers, that communicates on a level far deeper than words, reminding his nervous system and his unconscious mind of the peace and wholeness he feels in your presence. The most empowering image to hold, then, is that of becoming the calm flame in a dark room. A flame does not chase away the darkness, it does not scream to be noticed, it does not perform, it simply is. It holds its center. It is steady, self-contained, and in its simple, unwavering existence it provides warmth, light, and a point of focus. Its presence is a quiet miracle that transforms the entire space around it. This is the embodiment of your self-sovereignty. You become the source of your own light, and that is precisely what makes you impossible to forget. So, the final invitation is a quiet one. As your day comes to a close and the world grows still, ask yourself, what is the last emotional note I am leaving in the minds and hearts of those around me? And more importantly, what is the last emotional note I am leaving with myself as I cross the sacred doorway into the world of dreams?